And welcome everyone to the Sports Corner on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I'm your host, Sebastian Stratton, joined alongside James Gregg and Lorenzo Gonzalez. Gentlemen, a very chilly October day. I think for me, the coldest day on campus. I was very cold walking here today, but I always get a little bit excited to be on the show with you guys and talk about sports. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
I'm not doing great. I'm not gonna lie. It's the day after the Yankees get eliminated. It's like a ceremony every year. You just expect it. One of the worst days. Almost ruins the October.
It's been a great day over here, though. I'm not too big of a Yankees fan, but my baseball season was already over, so...
Well, what about those Cubs?
Sorry about it, guys.
Those Cubs are still alive.
Hey, hold on a second. I never said I was a Cubs fan.
All right.
Sebastian.
Okay.
I wasn't a Cubs fan.
I got too excited. All right.
But they haven't been doing too well.
Well,
have they?
They won yesterday.
Still alive.
Scathed off elimination. Forced a Game 4 tonight versus the top seed in the MLB, the Milwaukee Brewers.
So do the Phillies.
Yes, Phillies. And the only
Phillies
team eliminated
too.
is, of course, the Yankees. Poor Yankees. I'm a very sad Yankee fan.
Poor Aaron Boone. No, not poor Aaron Boone.
No, not poor
Poor
Aaron
Yankee
Boone.
fans.
Not poor Aaron Boone. We will get to that.
Aaron Boone made you guys poor. But
He did. He's part of the issue. But in Major League Baseball, starting with those very same New York Yankees, they have been eliminated from the 2025 Major League Baseball playoffs after losing to the Toronto Blue Jays 5-1 yesterday in Game 4 of the American League Division Series. And now an offseason approaches with a lot of questions and a lot of unknowns. Very interesting to say the least. James, as a Yankee fan, I know you have a lot of thoughts on this. What are your overall thoughts on this series and the Yankees being eliminated?
Listen, this might be like a mini rant, but it's just tough. This obviously doesn't sting nearly as much as last year. I mean, getting all the way to the World Series just to fall to the Dodgers was a terrible feeling. Falling to the Blue Jays didn't feel great either. Just completely outplayed us. We also once it's in Yankee fashion, Yankee playoff fashion, we kind of didn't help ourselves out in a lot of different ways. It always comes down to the same mistakes year in and year out. I think the feeling that I feel right now is more frustration that I have to wait all the way until spring training in February and March to see this team play again rather than the elimination. It just stinks. I think there's a problem with this organization from the top down. I think it starts with general manager Brian Cashman. I think it stems from Aaron Boone. And there needs to be a culture shift because the Yankees are wasting possibly the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. It's hard for me to say this, but I just don't think this team gets it done. With the way the team is structured right now, this is just going to be first-round exit after first-round exit. Maybe we might see an ALCS in the coming years. I don't think we're going to get nearly as close as we did last year ever again. I think the window for this squad is done. I really do. And I think the only time when we're really going to see a massive change is when there's change in the front office and there's change across the board and we have a culture shift. Now it's the Yankees. They'll always be in it. They'll always try to win the East. They'll always probably make it at least to the wild card. But as far as getting to the World Series, I just don't see that happening with this group. They're just too many things have to change.
Judge turns 34 in April. He made his debut August of 2016. First MLB at bat, hits a dead center home run. And after that, you knew the gigantic 6'7" outfielder, 280 pounds, was going to be destined for greatness. And this was the one postseason he finally performs. He hits consistently, hits around 500. And I mentioned the final score 5-1 yesterday. It was 5-2 actually. I was basically checked out after Toronto scored 3 runs in 2 innings in the 7th and 8th innings. So, very disappointing. This was a postseason that was riddled by underperforming players. Trent Grisham, 0 for 5 last night, finished the regular season with 34 home runs, and in the postseason, hit 138, 4 hits, no home runs, no RBIs. And at the top of the lineup, you can't have that as the table setter, especially with Judge behind you. You need to get on base, and Judge, multiple times in this series, was intentionally walked with no one on base, and that's the level of respect the Blue Jays really had for Cody Bellinger and Stanton. Bellinger didn't hit too much. He had that home run in Game 2, but 0 for 5 yesterday. Stanton 1 for 2. Wasn't the typical postseason Giancarlo Stanton. hit a $192. Anthony Volpe, don't get me started. He was absolutely horrendous. I really just don't understand the mindset of someone who coming into last night was 1 for 13 with 11 strikeouts. And then after he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts yesterday, you put him up there for a third time when you have Jose Caballero, who's supposed to be that super utility guy and that pinch runner you can put out there late in games. And he's not even used because the Yankees didn't put themselves in a position to take the lead late in games. So you don't have the opportunity to use Caballero. Volpe was horrendous, really bad postseason. It seems as if Ben Rice has never seen a splitter or a changeup in his life. Just can't seem to adjust after seeing the pitch 85 times in a row. And don't get it twisted. He's a great player. He's the future first baseman for this team. But there needs to be some sort of adjustment. And on the Blue Jays side, I don't think I've seen a single hitter in that lineup 1 through 9 and not make an adjustment and not have the ability to put the ball in play with 2 strikes. And that's a coaching thing. It's part of what the Blue Jays teach. On the Yankee side, a lot of his analytics, it gets you far in the regular season. But in the playoffs under Aaron Boone, they've made the playoffs 7 out of 8 seasons. Next year, it seems as if he'll be retained for the 2026 season. It hasn't worked in the playoffs, so something has to change. Very disappointing. James, thoughts on the Yankees lineup as a whole?
I mean, like you said, there's just no fight. There's no approach change. And there just needs to be a culture change that comes with coaching because it comes with a new philosophy. It's clear. Now, I'm not an Aaron Boone lover, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that not everything is coming from Aaron Boone, and I'm sure he's just a voice for a lot of other places in the organization, whether it's from the front office all the way down to other different fundamental coaching. But it just comes with different coaching across the board. That's what you need. There's obviously zero change to approach. There was no clutch hitting besides Judge, and this isn't anything different, though. If you've watched the Yankees all season, we've left the bases loaded so many times. We don't usually get that 2-out hit. A joke I like to make all the time is we either win by 10 or lose by 10, and there's like no in between. And that's really what sums up this Yankees season. As far as the lineup goes, like you said, Ben Rice, he's a quality hitter. I think that was just somebody who was really struggling in the moment for the first time. Had a big home run against the Red Sox. That was huge in Game 2 of the wild card. But that was pretty much the extent of what he did in the playoffs this year. I think the moment was too big for him, but I think he will grow as a player over time, and I would like to see him as a future corner infielder for the New York Yankees. As far as everybody else, Anthony Volpe is just, oh my God! Like where do we even begin? He's the product of some bruised egos, specifically Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone, and everybody who had believed in him. And it's the perfect way to sum up. Anthony Volpe is the perfect player to sum up this Yankees organization because there's no change in approach. There's no change in approach at the plate, and there's no change in approach in beliefs. This is his 3rd season now. There's absolutely no doubt now that he's not just some developing player that needs more time in the majors. He is not good. He had a Gold Glove season. That was great, but it's looking like a fluke now after leading the league in errors with 19 errors at shortstop. That just can't happen. And everybody's probably seen the interview in the past where Brian Cashman believes in him. And says that it's just a fluke, and you guys are going. And he was telling reporters that they'd come back to him after Anthony Volpe was going to have some monster offensive season. It hasn't happened 2 years later, and eventually, something that has to change with this Yankees team that I don't see happening. You have to accept it. Anthony Volpe is a bust, and it's 3 years in now. You can't just go to your 4th year and say let's hope he develops even more. This team doesn't go anywhere without cutting loose ends like Anthony Volpe. And it ruins the lineup, it ruins the infield, it just ruins everything overall. And it kind of all falls down on Volpe. I feel bad for the kid, but he's just the perfect example of what needs to change in this franchise.
I think you said it perfectly when you mentioned bruised egos, because I think that's exactly what's wrong with the Yankees organization and the stubbornness by Hal Steinbrenner, who is nothing like his father, George Steinbrenner. It's disappointing. This is a franchise that is used to winning World Series once every 5 years, and now going into their 2nd longest drought in franchise history since the early 1900s. Because it comes to a point where Aaron Boone, yes, I totally agree, it's definitely not all Aaron Boone's fault. I think a lot of the front office wants is a yes man, I think Boone gives you exactly that. So it comes to a point, though, where Boone is going to be held accountable. I think we are going to see a similar situation as we did with former Yankees manager Joe Girardi when his tenure ended in 2017 after a 10-year stint with the Yankees. Boone's contract ends in 2 years, 2027. If the Yankees do not win the World Series at least once within the next 2 years, Aaron Boone is gone. That'll be his 10th year in pinstripes. That'll be that. Aaron Judge will be 36 years old at that point. He said multiple times that he wants to play in his 40s, which I do think is possible. I'm not sure how much of that will apply to being an outfielder during that stint. Maybe we see something similar as we did with Bryce Harper, who transitioned into a first baseman and is very good defensively. So that's a topic for another day. But this Yankees lineup has a lot of questions. Cody Bellinger is a free agent. Trent Grisham, Mr. One-Year Wonder, he's a free agent. Volpe, I guess, is your shortstop for now. But you have people waiting in the wings. George Lombard Jr., prospect, 21 years old. He is ready. He'll be ready. He's ready to take Volpe's spot. And the bullpen, Luke Weaver's a free agent. Devin Williams, who I think is the most obvious positive regression candidate on this Yankees bullpen. And I'd be totally okay with bringing him back. David Bednar's under contract. Tim Hill, I think, is one of the most underrated players throughout the entire postseason. Pitched under a 1 ERA. He throws strikes, gets contact, ground ball pitcher. First and second, nobody out. Tim Hill is the guy you want to bring in a game. Get a ground ball, double play, turn it up the middle. And then the starting rotation, you have that set up when it's healthy. Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Cam Schlittler, and then insert your fifth starter. I think one of Luis Heel, Clark Schmidt, or Will Warren should be traded to get something because you don't need 8 starting pitchers on your staff. And they're all viable starting pitchers and can definitely have a spot somewhere in Major League Baseball. Just very disappointing overall for the New York Yankees, getting eliminated once again in the postseason. James, before we shift over to all the rest of the postseason matchups, any final thoughts on the Yanks?
Yeah, I think you just brought up a really good point right there about trading and stuff like this. I mean, my mind has already been on the offseason after they lost Game 2. I was just ready to for this to end. But the roster construction as a whole needs to be changed. This offseason, you have to choose. Are you going to develop Jason Dominguez? Or are you going to trade Jason Dominguez? Are you going to develop some prospects and have them come up? Or are you going to trade some prospects? You got to get rid of one of 3 left-handed catchers. You have too many DHs, too many outfielders. You have too many quality starting pitchers or pitchers in general. You need to make moves. You need to make big trades. And you need to decide for the first time since signing Juan Soto and since before that trading for Giancarlo Stanton, are you going to go all in for Aaron Judge's possibly one of his last quality seasons? You don't know how long he's going to do this. Are you going to go all in on this team, or are you just going to go halfway once again? Are you going to get that Juan Soto type of deal, or are you going to sign that Cody Bellinger, Trent Grisham? Which way are you going to go? And you have to figure that out. If you go into next year with a roster construction that it looks like it was made by somebody who just opened MLB The Show for the first time, you can't. That doesn't win championships. And this fan base has watched opposing teams celebrate on their field 3 times in the past 4 years, or something like that. I that might be wrong. I think that's that. That's just unacceptable, and the fan base is fed up with that, and especially fed up with wasting Aaron Judge's career. So you just need to figure out the roster construction this offseason, and if that's not figured out, I don't think there's any hope for this roster for the next few years.
Jason Dominguez comes in yesterday after not playing a single baseball game since late September, comes in to pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th inning, and hits a double off of the Blue Jays closer, Jeff Hoffman. You made a very good point. There comes to a point for Brian Cashman where it can't be playing Jason Dominguez 2 out of every 4 days, or once every 3. He is your top prospect in the system. You gave Anthony Volpe 3 years of run. Jason Dominguez deserves the same thing. And I understand that he's not the greatest defensive outfielder, but he will get better. It's not easy after being a center fielder your whole life and switching over to left field and trying to play it at the major league level when 100-mile-per-hour rockets are coming at you. Carlos Beltran, who had stints with the Yankees in 2018 through 2020, he said it himself. After going from left field to right field, it took him over a year to transition. It's not as easy as, I know how to play the outfield, I can just scoot over whenever. Not everybody has that gift. Cody Bellinger, I think that's one of an underrated aspect of his games, is his ability to play 4 different positions which includes all 3 of the outfield spots and first base. So a lot of decisions need to be made. You can't have 3 number 5 starters in Will Warren, Clark Schmidt, and Luis Gil. They all have a ton of value. They all throw decently hard. Will Warren, he can run it up to 95, and that's probably the slowest out of all of those 8 starters. Everybody else is in the high 90s. Clark Schmidt coming off of Tommy John, you hope that his velocity can tick up a little bit. So we'll see. I don't know. Very, very interesting. Lorenzo, how do you feel about Canada representing the MLB? Do we need a Canadian team in the NFL?
Absolutely not. Are
No?
you trying to ruin this league? That game really did hurt me too, though, because I hate Canada. Let it be known. I hate Canadian teams, I should say. I hate the Blue Jays, and it's truly, even though I'm not the biggest baseball fan, it's truly disgusting that the Yankees can't beat a team like the Blue Jays with the amount of talent that they had. Especially, I want to point out, because we were watching it last night, because I think I sent it in our chat. The celebration afterwards. Oh, how about you guys? Yeah,
that's a whole other can of worms.
Exactly. Like I was looking at it, I'm like, is that the Blue Jays manager? I asked Sebastian, is that the Blue Jays manager? Because he looks like a little kid. He looks like a little big kid. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, he didn't look like the manager. You know,
John
I was
Schneider,
like,
New Jersey native. New Jersey native.
He's a New Jersey native.
Yeah, from Princeton, New Jersey.
Oh my goodness.
Princeton, New Jersey.
He looked like a fool last night. He really did. He looked like he was drunk out of his mind.
He was excited. He was very excited.
A little too giddy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Going to the playoffs, he does deserve a lot of credit. After almost falling apart in late September and collapsing that American League East lead, he takes his team, they win the division, and are heading on to the championship series. And they will play the winner of the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers, who are heading to a winner-take-all Game 5 after the Tigers defeated the Mariners at home yesterday 9-3 to force the series back to Seattle tomorrow. And this is a Tigers team down 2-1 in the series yesterday, down 3-0 going into the bottom of the 5th inning, scored 9 unanswered runs between the 5th and 9th innings, and head back to Seattle with all the momentum with their ace on the mound in Tarek Skubal. James, we talked about it on one of these previous episodes, how they blow the largest lead in MLB history to the Cleveland Guardians, 15.5 games back, but none of that matters whatsoever if they can do the impossible and get rid of all of that, come back, advance to the American League Championship Series, and put themselves in a position with that starting pitching in the lineup that has a lot of depth to potentially go to the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, contrary to the Yankees, you're looking at 2 teams that are very, very good fundamentally, up and down. Lineups that are rock solid, pitching staffs that are honestly rock solid. You got great bullpens. This is like I don't know. It's one of the most evenly matched series I think we've seen in a long time. I think either one of these teams could go all the way if they really wanted to. Minus the playoff experience, they're both very dangerous. I think the Seattle Mariners are the better overall team, but if you're going to a winner-take-all Game 5, Tarek Skubal on the bump for the Tigers, you have to win that game if you're the Tigers. You have Tarek Skubal, arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball, barring Paul Skeens, in my opinion. I don't know how the Tigers lose this game unless Tarek Skubal really blows up, but at the same time, Mariners have a potent lineup, so we'll have to see. We will have to see.
Big matchup to look out for there is Jorge Polanco versus Tarek Skubal. 2 homers versus him in their previous game back in Seattle. They returned back to Seattle, and as you said, just 2 fundamentally great teams, up and down, guys that can put contact. Start with the Tigers. Dylan Dingler, the catcher, who's one of the best defensive catchers in Major League Baseball, had an RBI yesterday, went 1 for 3. Zach McKinstry at third base, 3 for 4. Spencer Torkelson, 2 for 4. And then Javier Baez, 4 RBIs yesterday in the 9-hole, 2 for 4, who is always made fun of for swinging at some horrendous pitches in the other batter's box. But he's been good. He's been very solid. Gleyber Torres comes over to Detroit after a stint with the Yankees, and he's playing well. And then on Seattle side, Kyle Raleigh, Mr. MVP front runner, hopefully, because Aaron Judge is the MVP. Topic for another day. Julio Rodriguez, who went 0 for 4 yesterday, 222 in the postseason. Then Jorge Polanco, only hitting 188 in the postseason, but as I just mentioned, 2 homers versus Tarek Skubal, in their matchup in Seattle just a few days ago, gets his revenge. Can Tarek Skubal capitalize it? We will see tomorrow night. But the Chicago Cubs, Lorenzo's new favorite team. No, don't get... All right, I'm kidding. The Chicago Cubs.
Be light on that. It's not.
All right. They live to see
Listeners, it is not.
All right. Just let them all know. Perfect.
We're letting them all know.
Perfect.
Continue, my friend.
The Chicago Cubs live to see another day as they defeated the Milwaukee Brewers 4-3 yesterday in Game 3 of the National League Division Series to force Game 4 today at 9 p.m. Eastern as Freddie Peralta takes the hill for the Brewers. 1-0, 3.18 ERA on the year versus Matthew Boyd, who got lit up in Game 1 in Milwaukee, a 5.4 ERA in the playoffs for Matthew Boyd, the ace for the Cubs. James, how confident are you that the Cubs, from going down 2-0, can potentially force this series back to Milwaukee and tie it up tonight?
All right, here's my in-depth analysis on this. I do actually think the Cubs will win today, but I don't think they will win the series. If the Brewers do win today, I think it's going to be on the back of a dominant Freddie Peralta performance. He's one of the most underrated pitchers in the league. He's not really talked about like that, but he on any other year, he could absolutely win the Cy Young. He's a dominant pitcher. He goes out there and he pitches all season. He doesn't really get injured. He's a horse out there on the bump. As for Matthew Boyd, I mean, if you guys didn't see his previous appearance, wasn't great. I think it honestly just depends on how Freddie Peralta does, but I think this comes down to the conditions at Wrigley Field. Opposing teams there aren't really used to how the wind swirls there. We've seen it last year. If you're Yankee fans, Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton hitting 110-mile-per-hour moon blasts that were routine fly balls. That's something that I can relate to as a Yankee fan, but we see it all the time. We've even had Kyle Tucker come out and say the wind swirls there, and it's his first season there, and he's had a lot of home runs that did not go out just because of the way the wind plays at this park. But the Cubs lineup knows this. They play to this, and they like to use it to their advantage. I just always see this coming into effect whenever teams go into Wrigley. But I think, like I said, depending how Freddie Peralta can keep that lineup down, Brewers could take this one, but I do like the Cubs at home at Wrigley. But I think this is Brewers in 5.
I like that take. Very good analysis, James. I think the biggest thing is which team can get to their bullpen, because both teams have very good bullpen, flamethrowers in the upper 90s, so it'll be a battle of starting pitching. For Matthew Boyd, can he get out of the first 2 innings and not let the Brewers, who had a very dominant performance in Game 1 and scored 5+ innings in the first inning, can you halt the Brewers and give your offense a chance to take the lead early on in the game? We will see. Hopefully for the Cubs and for baseball's performance sake, they force it to a Game 5 and give the viewers what they want, a Game 5 winner-take-all game between 2 division rivals in the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs. And the last series that is still taking place in Major League Baseball is between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I wish we had Perry here on the show because I would want to get his takes here as a Phillies fan. But man, those powder blue jerseys must have something. Reminds me of the Steelers color rush jerseys of Lorenzo. The Philadelphia Phillies won last night in Game 3 in a blowout performance, 8-2 over the Dodgers. Welcome to the playoffs, Kyle Schwarber. 2 for 4 on the day, 3 RBIs, 2 home runs. If he's clicking, I really do believe this Phillies team can ignite their way back to Citizens Bank Park. And once you get there, I think it's a winner. It's winner take all, obviously, but they do have that opportunity to take it all and jolt themselves to that National League Championship game. So the Philadelphia Phillies on those powder blue jerseys, 7-1, and have an 85% winning percentage all time, dating back to 1972. And after the Phillies fell behind 2-0 in this series, manager Rob Thompson went to the commissioner's office and asked Commissioner Rob Manfred if it were appropriate if the Phillies can travel to Los Angeles and sport those jerseys. Is it a matter of feel good, play good? Lorenzo, do you feel more confident when the Steelers wear their color rush jerseys?
You know, yes, I do. I do, as a matter of fact. But you know what I feel even more confident of?
What's that?
When they wear the yellow and black stripes.
They haven't worn those in a while, I believe.
I know. And every time that they've worn them, I've always felt the most confident with them.
Okay.
I will say that.
Feel good, play good.
Feel good,
Feel good, play good. But this is a matchup. Tyler Glasnow, the hard-throwing right-handed pitcher, 4-3, 3.19 ERA on the season, versus the Philadelphia Phillies ace. If this is someone in a Game 4 you have to win to keep your season alive and force it back to your home venue, Christopher Sanchez, left-handed pitcher, 13-5, 2.50 ERA on the season. James, I know you said that the Cubs should be able, or you think that they will be able to force it back to Milwaukee. Do you feel the same about the Phillies' chances?
Listen, powder blue jerseys are not. I don't like to admit this. I think the Dodgers are putting it home tonight. The Phillies have their best chance with Christopher Sanchez on the bump. I mean, he's just been absolutely electric out there, especially this season, really putting his name in a whole completely different conversation this season. But I just don't see it happening. The Dodgers are too battle ready. They're too postseason ready. They have the perfect combination of young guys and veterans who have been through this time and time and time again. Now, have they choked this time and again? They have. But I just don't think that this is the team that we're seeing right now. I think the Dodgers put it away tonight. I think they might score maybe a run or two off of Christopher Sanchez the second they get to the bullpen. It might be a low-scoring game, but I think they're going to put it away tonight. And unfortunately, the Dodgers are my pick to win the World Series and go back-to-back again this year. I don't see another team stopping them the way that they're built right now.
Dodgers versus Blue Jays?
Oh my gosh, I'm not watching anything.
Quit.
If that's what it is, I'm not watching anything. Okay. I'm watching like golf reruns or something.
Nothing wrong with a little
Go
Jim
back
Nance.
to football season.
Nothing
James.
wrong with a little Jim Nance on the Golf Channel. But here's my thing: the big three. I have big three versus big three. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper versus Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman. Betts is a guy who, not that he had a down regular season, a down year for him would be Anthony Volpe's career year. Hit 258, 20 home runs. But you have Ohtani, who has struggled mightily in the playoffs dating back to last year. Basically, I can't say that he got carried to a championship because without him, I don't know how the Dodgers do. They definitely have a bunch of pieces. But 0 for 5 yesterday, hitting a .174 in the playoffs. Kyle Schwarber made himself known to the postseason after slugging 2 home runs, as I mentioned, and 3 RBIs. So we'll see. I think it's another one similar to Milwaukee and Chicago. Which team can get it to their bullpen and have the lead late in the game? And for the Phillies, they will be in a great position if they can, down 2-0 and losing their first 2 games at home at Citizens Bank Park, forcing a Game 5, taking 2 in Los Angeles at their home venue, and forcing it back to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But a lot going down in Major League Baseball. 3 series still yet to be decided, and a lot more to talk about on the Sports Corner. But we are going to take a quick break here. You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and when Lorenzo, James, and I get back, we will shift over to the National Football League because there is a lot to recap from Week 5 and a bunch of trades that went down. We are back here on the Sports Corner. You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Sebastian Stratton, Lorenzo Gonzalez, and James Gregg back with you here to talk about the National Football League because there's a lot that went down in Week 5 and after Week 5 going into Week 6. And let's start off with a trade, an in-division trade between the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, as on Tuesday, 2 days ago, the Cleveland Browns traded quarterback Joe Flacco and a 2026 sixth-round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals in exchange for a 2026 fifth-round pick. Gentlemen, what do we make of this deal, and what does it mean for both teams?
Sebastian, this is awful. This is such an awful trade. It's an awful deal. It's an awful everything. I truly can't tell you why the Bengals went for Flacco. And I know we all know they're in a desperate situation, especially what's been going on with Joe Burrow after the whole injury. And the team really, the offense, like I said before on this show many times, the team has not clicked at all. Without your 3 guys, this is what happens when you don't want to actually fix your team and just want to pay around 3 guys that are the so-called stars and household names of your team. This is what happens. I really do feel like this team is ran by like a 5-year-old at this point because it's appalling. It's appalling to the Bengals fans that they have to like go through this. That you don't have a defense, you don't have an offensive line, and now you just got yourself a 40-year-old quarterback who was an all-pro in 2008 to 2012 in Baltimore. But that's not the issue. Flacco could succeed here if this team actually had a unit together. There's no offensive line. And this game against the Packers, they're going to be starting him this week because they don't got really nobody else. Who are they going to have? Jake Browning? No, he's awful. This team he's going to get injured the first time around. It's going to be terrible for him. And I can't believe, if I was Flacco, I don't know how much money he got offered for this, but there's got to be some hush behind it. Because I don't know why you would get in a situation like this and play behind that terrible of an offensive line. Somebody make it make sense to me, really, because it really doesn't. And the logical thing here, you were talking about with me a couple days before, or even a week before, Sebastian, that Jameis Winston would have been a viable. I agree with you. I think Jameis Winston would have been an incredible option for the Bengals here because he's actually a QB that doesn't rely so heavily, I feel like, in behind the pocket, like protection wise. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he's going to be relying so heavily on a offensive line. Flacco needs to. Flacco doesn't have that speed. He doesn't have that ability like Winston does now. But I feel like it's going to be an awful season for the Bengals. I don't see this really changing anything. Flacco's still got. We saw some glimpses of talent in the Browns, but the thing is that the Browns have at least a pretty good, solid offensive line. All things considered, not the best team at all, but they still have a reasonable offensive line. Bengals just don't.
I think we need to see something with the Bengals needs to be something very similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers and Aaron Rodgers has one of the quickest releases in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And this is behind an offensive line that is still trying to mesh together, who Broderick Jones, their first-round pick back in 2023, is still getting comfortable at left tackle after previously being the right tackle. You insert Troy Fautanu, who is your first-round pick last season in 2024, who gets hurt in the preseason. Your center, Zach Frazier, probably the best player on that offensive line. Isaac Seumalo, who has been pretty underwhelming to start the 2025 campaign at left guard. And then Mason McCormick, who is inserted at right guard after James Daniels goes down with an injury last season. And then on the Bengals side, I think we are going to see, and I really hope so for fantasy football's sake, that Joe Flacco gives a lot of dump-offs to Chase Brown because he's my RB2 in 3 different fantasy football leagues, and he's been struggling with Jake Browning, so just give the ball to Chase Brown and I'll be happy. Obviously, Jamar Chase is going to be Flacco's top option, and when he's not available, he'll be looking for T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, and Andre Yoshivas, who, as their third-string receiver, has been pretty solid, playing in that slot role and getting open in the middle of the field. So we will see. And then next Thursday, on Thursday Night Football, with the great 80-year-old Al Michaels on the call, 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers versus 40-year-old Joe Flacco. But all in all, James, how do you feel about this trade?
I feel like Lorenzo did a really good job of covering this. You got to feel bad for Bengals fans. I mean, after what happened to Joe Burrow, you go to Jake Browning, he couldn't find his 2023 form. So it's almost like this is almost like a lateral move here. You got a 40-year-old quarterback coming in with a bad offensive line, and the quarterback's going to move, probably has the movement of like a refrigerator. This is just setting up despair for Bengals fans. You just got to feel bad.
And we didn't even cover the Brown side of it, though, like what it means for them. Well,
Shedeur Sanders is going to get a chance now.
I don't even know. Because look how great of a game Dylan Gabriel had.
Lefty Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel had 2-3 touchdown passes?
Yeah.
He did a pretty good job, all things considered.
Lefty quarterbacks getting a chance in the league. Well, is it just him and Tua?
There's definitely more. There's definitely more that we're just not thinking of off the top of the head.
Tua's been a mess. His time in Miami will come to
an We will not be talking about Tua this evening.
But for the Browns,
this morning.
It's a team where they have a solid defense, very good, who can definitely put pressure on the Steelers' offensive line. You have Myles Garrett going up against Broderick Jones. Definitely a matchup to watch if Aaron Rodgers is going to remain upright and get the ball to his playmakers. DK Metcalf. I don't believe Calvin Austin is playing with a shoulder injury, so it's that next man up mentality. Darnell Washington, could we see him more in the passing game? Pat Freiermuth, who's basically been a ghost in the receiving work. Mm-hmm. Jonnu Smith, will Ben Skoranek step up? Scotty Miller, who we saw a lot of in the preseason. So we'll see. It's a division that is definitely still up in the air. It's a division in which the Pittsburgh Steelers lead at 3-1. So we will see in the AFC North. But a special shout out to the man running the board right now, Mr. Lorenzo Gonzalez, in the first ever segment of Upset of the Week on the Sports Corner, picked the Denver Broncos to defeat the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Phillies, who before last season...
Eagles.
Oh, yeah. I'm still in baseball mode. I think
All good.
I did that last year, too. I said Philadelphia Phillies. Listen, I'm still in baseball mode. Maybe I'm just thinking about the Phillies forcing a Game 5. I'm not too sure. But the Philadelphia Eagles, who I hadn't before last Sunday, lost a game in 10 months since December of 2024, went into Philadelphia and defeated the Eagles 21-17, handing the defending Super Bowl champions their first loss of the season. And with this win, the Broncos are now tied for first place in the AFC West with the Chargers. Boys, what do we make of this division? And can the Chiefs, who have won the division 9 years in a row, I don't want to say claw back because that's a little disrespectful 5 weeks into the season for three-time Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes. But what do we think of this division?
Denver fans, this is it right here. You're hearing it from the guy himself, Lorenzo. This is it right here. This is it. Your division has become weak. It is a weak division going into the middle of the season. We're almost there. We're in week 5. The Broncos, in my opinion, still, as I said last week, still the same thing. I think they have the best defense in the league, by far. The best defense you can ask for. The Chargers are kind of on a downfall right now. They really haven't been playing well whatsoever. They lost to the Giants. They lost to Washington last week. And then you have the Chiefs, who, in my eyes, are falling off completely. They're just playing. They're not playing good ball. They're a very distracted team. They have a lot of egos on that team now that are only championship thirsty, and they take the regular season like it's the preseason still. And you can't win football games like that. And then the Raiders. Absolute mess so far. Even worse than I always pick like the Raiders to always have like a good year. And then it's a train wreck right afterwards. You think with a brand new culture they would be a better team, but no. They're terrible. They have played absolutely terrible. So the Broncos, in my eyes, have the best chance of winning the AFC West. I think there's no question about it so far. If they keep playing the same way that they've had, they're going to be an incredible team this season. Nick Bonito, Pat Surtain, just incredible names all around. You can't ask for better. I think they're going to be the AFC West champs if they keep playing this way. And how about Bo Nix? How about him? Second year. Ooh.
Yeah. You really summed it up pretty good. This is their chance, and this is their opportunity. They have a golden opportunity right here, especially with how dominant the Chiefs have been in the past, and even how the Chargers have been playing. But this is it right now. They're tied with the Chargers right now, same record. They're on a 2-game win streak. If they can keep this going, they have a golden opportunity. But There is something telling me. I mean, we've all been watching football for the past few years. We see how the Chiefs can play. It might not be the same team that we've seen in the past, but I just can't see them continuing to play this bad.
I can't really see them making it to the playoffs,
Really?
Which might sound pretty crazy. I want to get your thoughts, Sebastian. Do you think the Chiefs will even make it to the playoffs with the way that they've been playing? They've been making games pretty close, but do you really think that they're going to go right in the rabbit hole in the playoffs?
They'll be fine. I'm never counting out Mahomes for as long as he's in the league. I think people forget that a lot of their things that have hindered on offense are due to the fact that they haven't had a number one receiver step up. And after this week, Rashee Rice is eligible off of the suspension list to come back and step up and be that guy for Patrick Mahomes. So I'm never counting him out. But with less than a minute left to go on the Sports Corner, let's do this quickly. Second week of Upset of the Week segment. I will start it off. I have the New York Jets, the 0-5 Jets, going to London to face the Denver Broncos, who are riding high. I think a little too high. They will get their first win in the Aaron Glenn era and upset the Denver Broncos. I have the Jets over the Broncos in London.
For me, I mean, I always like going with the New York teams, and since he took the Jets, I'm going to go with the Giants, hand the Eagles their second loss in a row. This would be a crazy upset tonight. They will be playing in the Meadowlands, and I just see the G-Men giving the Eagles their second loss in a row. That would be electric.
Give me, on Monday Night Football, give me the Chicago Bears to take over Washington. Very close game, just like we saw with the Broncos and Eagles, and take it home and win it on their third straight win of the season. That's my pick of this week because there's a lot of closely contested games.
Very exciting picks, gentlemen. We will keep track here. I'm 1-0. I think, Lorenzo, you're 1-0 after that great pick. James 0-1.
Hopefully 2-0 after the Bears.
We will see. But that is going to do it here on the Sports Corner. You have been listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and let's go Steelers.